So welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome back to a new video on the lorry load we bought from Copart. So many people actually keep putting in the comments, why can't I see the number plate? I'm not sure why that's relevant, but there you go. The little Renault Clio. When we initially did the first video of unloading it, I went round and said pretty much what was wrong with the car. So we need a mirror cap for it. Not a problem at all. We get one of them from the breaker's yard. We got this red writing all over it, and we'll probably start there, Chris, won't we? Running round, getting all that writing off of it. We got the dent in the boot, which is going to be very, very straightforward for us to do. Pop that out, and that is something that's going to have to be painted. Round on the passenger side, very, very nice car. Guys, I know when I initially did the first video on this car, the sound quality was quite bad. Unfortunately, it was blowing a gale that day. I'm just looking, Chris, and it has got a silver mirror cap on it. So maybe it's meant to be silver, which will be nice and easy to paint the other side. And again, there was a list here. I'm going to read it out. It says, and this is the insurance assessor, what he would have wanted to put on this car. New bonnet, new front bumper, new near side headlamp, new Renault badge in the middle of the bumper, new near side front wing, new bonnet catch, new front panel, new plastic front bumper assembly, new front bumper backing, and new bonnet stay bracket. Well, there's the near side wing, and it has no damage on it apart from the brackets are bent down here. And we're going to be straightening out those brackets because they're plastic wings. There's no cracks in it, no breaks in it at all. It has a scratch there, but I think even that black scratch is going to come out. The bonnet, obviously, has got these arrows all over it pointing to the gap. Well, the bumper, as you know, has been pulled forward, so it's going to have that on it. There's no damage on the bonnet. There's no dents on it. It's not bent anywhere. So we're not going to be replacing the bonnet on this car either. The bonnet catch, again, looks okay. So we're quite happy with that. And the front panel, you can see it's just got arrows everywhere. We will be stripping it down and finding out what we're going to need for it. But we're hoping to even get away with using that front bumper because it looks like the impact was there. And again, it's got caught on something and it's pulled it off. So the only thing really we're going to have to buy is a wing mirror cap and a headlight. But if you remember the little blue 55 reg Renault Clio that we've just had done and sold, when we bought it, we got it, well, when we actually got it for free, didn't we? And it come with loads of parts in the boot of the car, including 2 sets of headlights. So we have actually got a headlight for it for free, which is lovely. It's always lovely. God, that cleaned up nice, didn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that colour match, is there?
No, nothing at all.
It's written colour match on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look.
Colour match looks perfect to me.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Let's show how easy that is to get off, Chris. If you wipe these ones off up here for us. A little bit of thinners there. All comes off. Guys, we go round, clean it all up, and I'll cut back in and let you know what we're going to do with it. I actually got this stripped down, guys, on the old time lapse, so you're seeing this after, but if you did miss it, instead of waiting for Chris there with the front bumper, I undone all of the bolts. I come around this side, there was only one bolt left in there, and I undone it, and the whole front bumper fell off and landed on the floor there, but fortunately it didn't break any of the lights or the number plate. And that front bumper actually looks okay. You can see that this side of it here is broken off, or has it even broken off? It looks like it's popped off. And we've got the other section now. If that all clips back in, we're laughing. But I've just undone that headlight, literally undone the bolts on it. All the bolts were still in there. I'm just going to chuck the other headlight in there and see what it lines up like. But here's the bent bracket, and literally we've just got to straighten that back up. So far, so good. Round to this side, It's been a bit of a pain, Chris, right? Locking wheel nut. Where is it?
On the bench.
On the bench. And it was one of the ones with the
Shroud.
around the outside. We've had to beat that off first, get one of our older sockets and beat it over the top. And on top of that as well, we actually had the centre caps with the locking pins in them, which we didn't have the key for as well. So, and Chris was getting that off so that I could get that wheel arch liner out, but I did manage to squeeze in there and get it out. So let's stop going on, get that headlight fitted, flick that bumper down and see what we can do with it. Just having a look at this bumper to see what we actually do need. And looking right over the bumper, there's no splits in it, there's no major dents. It is literally that scuff there, and there's a piece of paint missing off it there, and a bit of a scratch across the front. So we are going to actually have to have that painted, which we expected to anyway. But I am going to need to go round the breaker's yard and get a Renault badge for it. And I've been looking inside it, and you can see I've laid this back in, and it's not actually clipping home. It's not locking in, and you can see that that tab's broke there, and that one's broke there as well. And that is what actually holds. Let me just move that back a minute. That actually holds the support here of the top of that bumper, and that's why it's flicking over. So what I'm actually going to do is go around there and just get a new bumper support and a new bumper bar for it round at the breaker's yard, and we're going to save that bumper and just put new internals in it. Moving on to the headlight, that was a bit of a fail, guys. You can probably see this one's just round there, and the one over here has got like that cut out of it. So this is obviously a facelift model, so that light's going to be no good. So I need to go around the breaker's yard and get a light. Those bits for the bumper, I think we're missing one centre cap for a wheel, a Renault badge, and Chris is just loosening off all of the bolts on the front panel just to see if it springs backwards or forwards. If it's had a little bump and it has moved, he can undo them, and 9 times out of 10 that there'll be a little bit of movement in them, and hopefully it goes back to where it should be. But if not, we'll put it where it needs to go, do the bolts up, and then hopefully they've got a headlight around there, we can get this panelled up. Guys, I just literally whipped to the breaker's yard. Chris has been messing around with it, making sure that he can get those panel gaps matching both sides, which he's done. The bonnet had slightly moved, and he's adjusted that and got it back where it should be. I've just whipped round to the breaker's yard. We did notice that one of the tyres was severely bald on the edge. So while I was there grabbing some bits, I noticed this wheel in the boot of a car, and it's got an Avon nearly new tyre on it, the right size. So we've now got a tyre, and I actually bought that wheel and tyre, so the wheel belongs to us as well. The wheel arch liner, just they come in 2 sections. We only needed the front section, so I grabbed that. And new reinforcer really for this bumper, because it's all split and all falling apart. You can see all the tabs are broken. I bought the complete thing, so I bought a new crash bar, new badge, and these was in the boot of the car. It had locking wheel nuts on it and the 4 original wheel nuts. As you know, we haven't got a locking wheel nut key for this car, so we're going to be removing the locking wheel nuts, and we're going to need to put wheel bolts back in them. So that was there, and the mirror cap. So that was £30 for all of that, and I'm sure the wheel's probably a few pound in the scrap. So worked out really, really cheap. It is an older car now, but the thing we did notice with it being a facelift, and it has got that little kick in the headlight, I've just been round the breaker's yard and gone through 10 different Clios out there, and they did not have this facelift version. So we've had to order this light. We've ordered a pattern one new from Euro Car Parts, and that's going to be here in the next couple of hours, so we can start the process of building this all back up. In the meantime, I'm going to transfer all these new parts onto that bumper and probably start trying to clean that bumper up a little bit and see how bad the gouges are, because we're going to need to flat that off and get it ready for the paint shop. the front bumper all done, and it is very, it's got its rigidity back in it now, so it's nice and strong. When I did drop it the other day, I noticed, I didn't see it at first, maybe I did break that number plate, or it was already done. But either way, we'll have to get a new one for that. But yeah, that bumper is good to go, and as you can see, I've got a bit of thinners and scrubbed off most of those black scuffs, so that is just going to need some paint work. Looks a lot better with a badge in it now as well. And we are just waiting for that headlight. Sorry, I have to keep checking the gate. We're literally just waiting for that headlight. Once that's gone in there, we can fit that front bumper, get it all squared up, and that will be the front end ready for the paint shop. While we are waiting for that, Chris is just going to start attempting to get this nasty dent out of the boot. So he's going to be up and down with the tailgate, and that is going to take a little while. So what I'll do is just pop it onto time lapse, and we'll capture as much of that as we can. But as you can see, it is quite bad, but very repairable. Watch that bit of time lapse back there, and I did say we was going to be up and down with the tailgate, so we didn't actually get to see a lot. And we did notice, obviously, once Chris knocked it down, that it has had a tailgate on it at some point because it was red. But he's got that dent out. It's a little bit too big for a GB sticker, but the perfect size for an L plate. No, all jokes aside, we'll give that a little skim now, put some primer over it, and send it off to the paint shop like that. Just doing that little bit of work before it goes to the paint shop saves us a bit of money because it's less work that they've got to do, but it is popped out. It was very difficult to get inside there because, as you can see, you can sort of compare that hole to my hand. It's very small, and then there's a plate here, so we couldn't actually get in there. We did our best with what we had, putting our hands in there and holding the metal plate that Chris had put in there, the dolly, and that's how it come out. But we are still sitting here waiting for Euro car parts to arrive, and hopefully they'll be here any time, because I really want to get that light in there, get the bumper back on, get the wheels on it, and wrap this video up. Headlight's finally arrived. We're right near the end of the day now, and for a pattern headlight, it fits very nicely indeed, so we're quite happy with that. We had to change all the bulbs over, put this part of the bracket for the bumper that clips in there and holds it all together. We had to change that over from the other headlight, but so far so good, and they're both matching, and thankfully that one's in quite nice condition, so they match quite well. We're going to move on now and get the bumper fitted. Bottom first. Very tight because it's got those little clips.
But this one is, so we're going to have to adjust that.
Just
There.
yeah.
And we'll go in.
Right, yeah, I could go all the way in, but it's not going to work. And sometimes, guys, it is on, off, and you could do it 5 or 6 times. What Chris noticed there was this headlight, the gap just here was ever so slightly too far forward, so he's just moving it back a tad, and then we'll try again. Ready?
Yeah.
First. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself as well, guys, when I say bottom first, but the reason I do say it is because then Chris knows what I'm doing, and he does the same.
Same again, isn't it?
I could go all the way in. What do you like?
Feels like nowhere near, is it?
No, it's not home yet though, it's this side of the
Yeah,
light.
let's just push more now. Yeah, let's just push more now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Right, so we need a bit more there, even still.
On yours you'll have to put, because there's no more there.
It wants to come this way, does it?
So, it's got on it.
Yeah. Moved quite a lot there, didn't it?
That's on there.
I mean, you know, get there.
Yeah, it's in there now.
It's quite nice here.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
We'll get a couple of bolts in it, shall we hold it?
Yeah, it's only 10 mils there, isn't it? I think a bit of it's on the old headlight, possibly one of the 10s, because they're the same. We'll leave it there, guys. We're just going to grab some bolts and actually get that bolted back on, then we'll have a walk around it. On and off there with the front bumper, and you would have seen from when you was just watching it, I did actually cut bits of it out because it was far too long. I actually went back to the recording. It was over 5 minutes of me and Chris just constantly on off with that front bumper, but we're quite happy with it. We've got it right where it needs to be. We've got all the gaps uniform all the way around the car. We had a bit of hassle there with the bonnet. When we first put the bumper on, we had a good 1.5 inch gap between the bumper and the bonnet itself. And we started to think that the hinges were bent, but they wasn't. They'd actually moved on the rear bolts that actually bolt the hinges to the car. We loosened those off, got it where we wanted it, done them up, and it's come out like that. All the gaps are uniform. Everything's where it needs to be, and we're quite happy with it. So we'll be putting the wheels on, giving it probably well, we won't be washing it yet. We're going to get the wheels on it, get it turned around, so that in the next video we can start the process of that filler work. A bit more work there, a little bit more involved than the Honda HR-V, but it's all been very relatively easy to actually do. We had a bit of messing around there with that front bumper, but we got there in the end. It is a real shame about the headlight. It's always nice to get a second-hand headlight. Number one, it matches very well to the other light that's in the car. We're lucky that that one does match quite well, because when you've got a second-hand one and a new one, they genuinely do look quite different. And that was £80, that headlight, so it is a bit of a downer, and you can see how they get written off so easy. That's for a pattern headlight. A genuine one is probably twice that. So guys, if you do enjoy this video, please do give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate it, and it shows your appreciation. I know I always say it, but follow us on Instagram. Throughout the day, every day, we do put sneak peeks. So it does kind of give you an idea of what we're up to, what to expect, and what's coming next. We put out videos on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. Sometimes that may vary. That is going to be the end of today's video. If you've got any comments or questions, put them in the comments section. I'll always get back to you if I can. Like, subscribe and share. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. And we'll see you very, very soon in the next one.